A very lovely afternoon to you. Welcome to Nationwide. My name is Ogochkuka Ona, and you can watch this news on all our social media platforms. President Bola Tinubu has communicated the Senate seeking confirmation of the appointment of Justice Adamu Galunje as the chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau. The request is among the 4 communications of the president read at the commencement of plenary. President Tinubu also requests the Senate to confirm Aminu Mukhtar as a board member of the Asset Management Company of Nigeria. 2 other requests were given expeditious consideration as they passed first and second readings. These are the Students' Loans Access to Higher Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill, and the 2024 budget proposal of Federal Capital Territory Administration amounting to 1.147 trillion naira. Out of the figure, 726 billion naira is proposed for capital projects.
So seeing this coming now is very highly commendable. It shows that there is a resolve on the part of the minister to transform the FCT in line with the 8-point agenda of the renewed hope of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. So this Senate has noted its efforts, and we commend its efforts, and we hope that other parastatals and other agencies of government whose budgets are yet to be considered will follow suit and not try to bring their budgets in September or October.
And now, information just reaching us says the Northern Senators Forum appoints Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua as chairman of the forum and Senator Mohammed Tahir Mongono as spokesperson. And still staying with the legislature, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill for an act to enact the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Bill 2004. This followed a letter from President Bola Tinubu seeking expeditious consideration of the executive bill to facilitate the commencement of the student loan scheme. The new bill seeks to repeal the initial Student Loans Act 2023 and enact the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Bill 2004 to establish the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. When passed, the new body will receive, manage and invest funds to provide loans to Nigerians pursuing higher education, vocational training and skills acquisition.
We have a president who is interested in expanding and deepening access to education for the poor.
The bill, as represented, has taken care of the issues of process of application. It has taken care of the issues of what is expected of applicants to place before the government, and in fact, repayment and sustainability procedures.
I support this bill, not just because of what I and others have said, but because I see it as one of those that seeks to balance the gap in education for the rich and the poor.
Bill referred to the Committee on Student Loans, Scholarship and Higher Education Financing for further legislative action.
The House also adopted a motion calling for the completion of the Calabar-Itu-Ikodekbene Expressway.
Mandate the Committee on Works to investigate the road's current state, the abandonment of crucial infrastructure projects not only undermines the welfare and prosperity of the people, but also reflects the government's inability to meet their citizens' needs.
And now the House Committee on Oversight Function to the Ministry of Environment says it will roll out legislations that will provide for more budgetary allocations for the ministry to advance environmental gains in Nigeria. Charles Alpha reports.
The House, as part of its statutory functions, was at the ministry to familiarize itself with operations, deliberate on the ministry's constraints, and collectively provide solutions. Members of the committee probed to acquaint themselves with the ministry's agenda on waste recycling, open defecation, erosion, sources of funding, and how it is leveraging opportunities made available by international bodies to ameliorate the impact of escalating climate change. The ministry, on its part, put before the House Committee on Environment for their consideration inadequate budgetary allocations to the ministry, empowerment of National Environmental Standards and Regulation Enforcement Agency, NESRA, to effectively carry out monitoring and implementation of environmental laws, as well as increasing destruction of forests and biodiversity.
That issue which is quite fundamental, which I know you have been doing, that is the issue of the bandits turning our forests into their homes. The roadmap is being worked out, and by the time it's completed, we'll come to you where we are supported.
Look at our budget as an example. We are one of the most least funded ministry of the federal government.
We have looked at, they have raised the grey areas. We will go, we looked at them, and anywhere we can help by way of legislation, certainly the House of Representatives will help.
The visit by the House Committee on Environment is expected to strengthen relationship with the ministry and forge a new path for a safe and cleaner environment. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Nigeria's power sector is climate-driven with significant drop in electricity supply at the peak of every dry season. And now the federal government is looking inwards to harness alternative energy sources to boost supply. In this regard, the federal government has concluded arrangements for the construction of 30 megawatts windmill and solar hybrid mini-grid in Lagos. Joshua Ojito has details.
Nigeria is in dire need of sufficient electricity, and renewable energy sources may just be the option for the nation to achieve reliable power supply. Federal Ministry of Power is partnering investors to explore abundant wind and solar resources in the country to generate clean and sustainable electricity. Lagos State is benefiting from this initiative with 30 megawatts windmill and solar hybrid mini-grid to be constructed in Lekki.
We are thinking outside the box. We want to have national grid, mini-grid, we have solar, we have wind, and we have a hybrid. We are doing all these things to galvanize a lot of energy resources to solve the deficit we have in the country.
Once the SPV is built, then to mobilize financing will take a few months, like 6 to 8 months, I believe. And then construction then will take, as I said, 14 to 16 months.
Communities where the projects are sited should take ownership and protect them. It is not good when we move 2 steps forward and 10 steps backward, because there are people we call vandals who continue to destroy this kind of huge investment.
Katsina State benefited from similar project of 10 megawatts windmill, and the project is to be expanded to other states of the Federation in line with Vision 30-30-30 energy mix. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
In the meantime, a comprehensive 5-year plan to run from 2024 to 2028, designed to advance the transformative roadmap of the Renewed Hope Agenda, has been launched. Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Zephaniah Gisalu, at the presentation of the document, says the plan will foster grassroots development and effective policy implementation. Kenneth Nanin's report is hereby presented.
Their strategic plan aims to align with key principles of job creation, innovation, economic growth, social development, sustainability, and inclusivity to combat extremism and promote national security. The Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs explained that the vision looks beyond current challenges, but envisions a Nigeria that thrives economically, socially, and politically.
Our strategy comprises supporting the local production, reducing imports, supporting our farmers, nurturing emerging sectors, empowering the vulnerable, and ensuring accessible health care, education, and housing.
The plan will be operationalized annually through a detailed roadmap for implementation to enable MDAs contribute towards the realization of the objectives.
In our security matters, achieving effective community policing through a robust synergy and cooperation between members of the public and the police, many believe is key to a more peaceful Nigeria. This is the thought of some residents of Uyo as they call for more citizens' participation in community policing. Clement Barikui reports.
Security of lives and property, though a constitutional responsibility of government, has become the concern of all, as many communities are complementing efforts of government in providing voluntary security services in their domains.
Give us timely information. We are willing to work with this information for the good people of Akwa Ibom State.
Though this partnership is not eroding the role of regular security personnel, respondents are of the opinion that people with questionable character should not be part of those protecting their environment.
When you have members of the community to become a security personnel within their community, automatically it will help.
Some people that have mind to go out and work effectively, end of the month we are not receiving anything, so some people are backsliding.
To further allow for more citizens' involvement in policing, the Akwa Ibom State government recently commissioned 5,000 youths across the 31 local government areas of the state as volunteers in community policing.
We count on you to be the catalyst of this movement. It starts with peace, security, and a safe and secure environment.
Experts say tackling security challenges in the society is a call for vigilance by the public while reporting suspicious movements within their surroundings to law enforcement agencies. Clement Barikui, NTA News.
And Clement Barikui joins me now for more on effective community policing in Akwa Ibom State. But before we go into that, Clement, how is the weather there? Is it clement? 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 Clement? Clement?
Okay, so the state government early last year inaugurated about 5,000 youths, and these youths are from the different local government areas of the state. This came as a result of security challenges that came up earlier that year. And so the governor, when he came into office, the first thing he did was to mobilize these youth, after which he created the Ministry of Internal Security and Waterways. And that ministry is working in synergy with the various security teams in the state to ensure that crime that were early that year Now, these youth are from the different local government areas. They represent every community in the state. And since the inauguration of that forum, they called it Ibom Community Watch, have been assisting security agencies to provide useful information. Actually, their role is just to provide intelligence to the security agencies. When I spoke with the police public relations officer earlier, he told us that the crime rate in the state has drastically reduced since the inauguration of that Ibom Community Watch. And they are of the opinion that more people should come up, more people should join force with the security agencies to ensure that security of lives and property in the state remain top-notch. And one of the ways that they have done that is visiting communities. In fact, the new CP immediately arrived at the state, has commenced interactions with community leaders, ensuring that those who are not supposed to be in their community. Those who are going around fomenting troubles are actually put to rest. So community policing is actually working in the state. Community policing, according to the people, is the right way to go. They feel that once you involve the people, once you involve them in policing, it will be easier for the security agencies to ensure that the state is peaceful, and the state maintains its status as one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Clement. So based on the feelers around the state, are these measures addressing security concerns?
Yes. Yes. From feelers across the state, the people are happy. In fact, earlier last year, as I said, it was very difficult. Hardly do a day passes by without one form of burglary, particularly at night. And these guys, when they come up, when they attack, they move in their numbers. Sometimes they go out about 20. But since the inauguration of that Ibom Community Watch, people now taking security as their own business and not the business of security agencies alone. Yesterday, when I went out and spoke to things of the state, they say there is a drastic change in terms of security. So these boys, these Ibom Community Watch members are working with security agencies across the state. And once there is an information, when they suspect any movement, what they do is just simply report to the police. In some cases, they can even make arrests and hand over to the police for further investigations.
Very well. Thank you very much, Clement. And I can see the weather there is clement. Thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution. And now, Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Kemi Nandaf, has directed all controllers stationed at states and relevant border commands to promptly ensure strict compliance with the presidential directives to reopen the borders with Niger Republic and lift restrictions on human movements. A statement by ACI Kenneth Kure of the Public Relations Unit assures of the Nigerian Immigration Service's unwavering dedication to facilitating safe and orderly border crossings while upholding the integrity and security of Nigeria's borders. Strengthening collaboration between civil authorities and security personnel is key to tackling transborder crimes, especially states with international borders. This resonated when the Assistant Comptroller General of Nigeria Immigration Service in charge of Zone C paid Governor Buni a courtesy visit in Damaturu, Yobe State. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
Yobe, located in the northeastern part of Nigeria, has over 300 kilometers of border stretch between the state and Niger Republic, thereby making it vulnerable to all forms of transborder crimes with repercussions on national security. This visit to Yobe State by the Assistant Comptroller General of Immigration in charge of Zone C, covering the northeast states, is to further strengthen collaboration with civil authorities in states under the zone on how best to address emerging security challenges in view of political instabilities in some neighboring countries.
There must be joint operation between our officers. They are tested officers. Most of them have been on JTF. So if they are not being given the opportunity to use their skill and their training to be able to fish out some of these elements.
Governor Buni, who underscores the role of immigration service in improving national security, says all hands must be on deck to prevent the influx and infiltration of criminal elements from neighboring countries into Nigeria through joint operations.
We will support you as a government on behalf of our people to ensure that our people are secured.
The Assistant Comptroller General of Immigration in charge of Zone C also informs the governor that the service is set to organize a 3-day Northeast Border Security Summit scheduled to hold from 14th to 16th May 2024, where issues bordering on transborder crimes and drug trafficking, among others, are expected to dominate discussions. In the Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
And still talking security matters, the security challenges in Ondo and Ekiti states are being addressed frontally in collaboration with the governments of the two neighboring states. This follows the presentation of a white paper titled "A Proposal for Counter-Operations Against Security Challenges in Ekiti and Ondo States" by the Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 17, Asabi Abiodun, to the Governor of Ondo State, Lucky Ayedatiwa, at the Governor's office in Akure. Paul Omukago tells us more.
Accompanied by the commissioners of police from the two states, AIG Abiodun underscored the need for a prompt and more holistic approach in neutralizing increasing cases of crime and criminality, particularly terrorism and kidnapping.
Call to parley with the governments of Your Excellency, Mr. Governor, sir, and present a white paper which we hope will be considered and fully adopted by the two states in the zone.
Responding, Governor Ayedatiwa commended the police for taking proactive steps in tackling security challenges in the two states, promising to examine and adopt the recommendations outlined in the white paper.
The rest assured that the government of those states and also government of the state, because both of us were very close to relate very well. It required joint provision of certain things that we needed security-wise. We will put our strength together to support the zone.
It will be recalled that Ondo State Governor recently called for a review of the security architecture in the state with a view to improving and boosting operations of various security agencies. In Akure, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
And that was Olubukola Aduwo and not Paul Omukago. And now we'll be heading straight to Lagos. Hingino is our guide. Hingino, is over to you.
Chronic kidney disease, also called chronic kidney failure, describes the gradual loss of kidney function. Are your kidneys functioning optimally? I guess you might not know unless you do a kidney function test. This is what today is all about, World Kidney Day. Experts are therefore using the day to advocate healthy lifestyle to reduce kidney disease burden in the country.
Kidneys are among the most important organs of the body. They serve as filters by removing waste and returning clean blood to the body, thereby balancing different elements such as water, salt, and other minerals. Due to the important role kidneys play in ensuring the overall health of the body, they need care and protection to enable them function optimally.
One of the early detections of kidney disease is when this protein begins to be excreted in the urine by an individual. Once that happens, there is a suggestion that a kidney disease may be brewing, even though at the early stage, this can be reversed.
The global chronic kidney disease burden is alarming, as data shows that about 700 million to 1 billion people are affected, with a prevalence of 9.1% to 13.4%. In Nigeria, various studies have revealed the burden to range between 1.6% and 12%.
We're sorry we have to discontinue with Lagos there because of the bad audio quality there. And now we'll take a break. We'll have more reports thereafter. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. And the lineup indicates that we'll be heading to Jos now, and Felicia is there. Felicia, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ogochukuka. Welcome to Jos. Plateau government is constituting a committee that will work out modalities for the safe return of the internally displaced persons in various camps across the state. Governor Caleb Mutfwang gave this indication in Jos while receiving the Chief of Mission, United Nations International Organization for Migration at the Government House, Jos. Grace Akwegoti reports.
The United Nations Organization for Migration is working towards practical solutions to the challenges of migration and humanitarian assistance to migrants in need, including refugees and internally displaced persons. Chief of Mission Laurent Dibok says their mission in the state was driven by the December 2023 incident where innocent people lost their lives and valuable properties destroyed. He emphasized the need to assess the situation and cater for the immediate needs of the internally displaced persons in the states.
But which showed also the possible partnership between my organization and with the state in looking at how we can contribute to peace and reconciliation, which is a kind of activity that we carry out in different parts of the country already. We're looking at displacement and the humanitarian part and how we can support what the SEMA is doing in the state.
Governor Mutfang cherished the visit, describing it as timely. The state government, he says, is looking for robust partnership that will aid the plan of rebuilding the destroyed communities, which have been taken over by bandits.
The most critical need of the moment for us, which aligns with the mandate of your office, is how to return the internally displaced persons to their ancestral homes.
The governor lamented a situation where schools and health facilities in the affected communities are occupied by bandits, assuring that all safety measures are being considered for the safe return of the people. In Jos, Grace Akwekuti, NTA News.
Peace is a prerequisite for meaningful development and should be embraced by all and sundry. This message came to fore at the Plateau Leadership and Peace Building Summit 2024 in Jos. Sadatu Mohamed Kafa reports.
Organized by the Women in Leadership Initiative, Willy Africa, the Plateau Leadership and Peace Building Summit 2024 brought participants from both the private and public sectors.
Speakers have talked extensively about leadership. I'm very impressed.
This is something that will not only build peace in Plateau State, but it will build other sectors.
Executive Director of Willy Africa stressed the need for communities to embrace change, urging all citizens to embrace peace to be the center of every meaningful and sustainable development.
We decided that this project needs to be brought to life because it is timely and needed with regards to leadership and peace building and peaceful coexistence.
Governor Kela Mufan, who was represented by the DG Plateau Peace Building Agency, echoed the need for all citizens to be peace ambassadors.
We're saving lives, we're rebuilding lives, and we're also looking at livelihoods and therefore economic prosperity.
It is one thing to put a legal framework in place. It is equally another thing to ensure that that legal framework is functional.
As leaders of tomorrow, we should take care of our own economies. We should not depend on somebody else's economy.
In Jos, Sa'adat Muhammad Kafa, NTA News.
And those are the stories from here. Ogochikuka is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Felicia, there in Jos. And we'll now be taking a report from Makurdi, where we are told that the rising cases of Lassa fever and measles in Benue State have become sources of concern to many, especially with the confirmation of casualties by health authorities. Blessing Omeche Bute in this report gives a situation report about the diseases in the state.
Lassa fever is the zoonotic disease caused by the Lassa virus. It's transmitted from rodents to humans and can also be transmitted through person-to-person contact. Benue State has experienced an outbreak of the viral infection, with the State Ministry of Health and Human Services reporting 725 suspected cases. Briefing journalist, Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Yaman Otese, says 9 local government areas are affected.
In epidemiological week 6, we also had the unfortunate incidents of detecting 4 infected persons in one of the RDP camps in the state. These populations are highly vulnerable due to the overcrowding in congregated setting with poor hygiene.
Another worrisome development is the outbreak of measles being experienced in the state, with 256 suspected cases and 31 confirmed cases. He appealed to partners with technical competencies to intervene in the containment of these outbreaks and enhance the health security of the state. In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
On the health challenges and efforts of government at mitigating them, we have Blessing Omeche Ebute standing by at the Benue State Teaching Hospital, Makudi.
Thank you, Ogochukwuka. Within the last couple of months, there has been an outbreak of Lassa fever in Benue State with 62 confirmed cases and 14 deaths recorded. Among the confirmed cases are 5 health workers, 4 internally displaced persons in one of the camps in the state. The reported cases in the IDP camp is quite worrisome due to the overcrowded nature of the camps coupled with the poor hygienic condition. Unfortunately, the state disease outbreak team intervened and brought the IDP situation under control. Right behind me is the treatment center at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital, Makudi, which has been put under pressure by this worrisome development. To shed more light on the Lassa fever situation in Benue State is the Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Yama Otese. What is the current situation of the patients, particularly at the isolation unit?
Well, we have recorded well over 850 suspected cases of Lassa fever, with 62 confirmed, 5 deaths. 5 health workers were involved, and 4 from IDP camp, Otese IDP camp. Right now, we have 3 cases in the isolation unit at the back here, 2 confirmed and 1 suspected case, but they are all in very stable condition. The IDP cases is the most worrisome case of all of them because of the crowded nature of IDP with a very poor hygiene. I just left the IDP, went for a different program, but they are quite stable.
What is being done to curtail the outbreak in the state?
Well, we must thank the governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Dr. Hyacinth earlier, because he has assisted the emergency operations center very well by providing vehicles and also manpower. With that, we are able to do proper contact tracing, considering the difficult terrain Benue State has.
Thank you very much, sir. And that has been the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Yaman Otese, speaking on the outbreak of Lassa fever in the state. Over now to Ogochukwuka for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Blessing, and of course, Dr. Otese, and we can see that Makudi is windy at this time. All right, back in Abuja, in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policy thrust, the Katsina Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has handed over 6 confiscated trucks of assorted grains to the owners. The controller of the command, Umar Mohammed, enjoined the consignment owners to reciprocate the gesture by ensuring that the commodities are distributed and sold at Nigerian markets. Suleiman Godogi reports.
General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Bashir Hadewale Adeniyi Idwari's working visit to Katsina State recently announced that the federal government has directed the release of confiscated food items back to the owners. This, the customs controller said, is with the condition that it will be recirculated back to the Nigerian markets to check high cost of food items, thereby boosting the national food security policy of the present administration. It is in compliance with the presidential directive that the Nigerian Customs Service Katsina Area Command released 6 trucks of loaded assorted grains in their custody back to the rightful owners.
The command, in collaboration with the Customs Intelligence Unit, CIU Federal Operation Unit, and the Joint Border Patrol Team to be closely monitored by the task force in order not to be allowed to smuggle out of the country.
Responding, the chairman, Katsina State Task Force on Sales and Control of Essential Commodities, Jabiri Abdullahi, applauded the foresight and determination of the federal government towards ensuring the availability of food to Nigerians, especially the needy. In Katsina, Suleiman Kudogi, NTA News.
Now, Chairman of Police Service Commission Solomon Arase was at the Nigeria Police Force's National Cybercrime Center to interact with the operatives of the center on how to use intelligence-led police to nip the crimes in the bud. Francis Form reports.
I just want to encourage you people. Please.
Between 2015 and 2016, Solomon Arase was the Inspector General of Police. He set up the Safer Highway and established the Intelligence Response Team, amongst others, to address the resurgence of crime. Today, Arase is the chairman of Police Service Commission, and he was at the Nigeria Police Force National Cybercrime Center to share his policing experience with the operatives.
The Cybercrime Center is one aspect of it. We are still dealing with issues of banditry, kidnapping, abduction. You know, we have to be able to rise up to the occasion to say, no, you cannot create a Hobbesian state, in Nigeria. There must be consequences for crime.
Of course, from what he established, we drew our own inspiration. And what we are practicing now here in National Cybercrime Center is what we call intelligence-led investigation.
Dr. Arase cautions the operatives that corruption diminishes a man, and anybody they come across in the course of policing, they will still meet them later in life. He asks them to be civil in their conduct. Francis from NTA News.
We now go straight to Ibadan now for more reports on Nationwide.
Hello, Ogochukwu, and welcome to Ibadan. Let's talk agriculture. If properly managed, soil will lead to improvement in the nation's agriculture sector. This was part of the message at a sensitization program by the National Institute of Soil Science to students of Ibadan Grammar School. Lukman Hassan tells us more.
Regarded as the most important aspect of crop farming, soil must be studied to ensure that its nutrients are maintained to ensure high yields for farmers. The Southwest coordinator and guest lecturer, while urging students to consider the study of soil science as a career, reminded them that it has potentials to improve Nigeria's economy.
To NIS by the federal government is to regulate the profession of soil science. Soil is the bedrock of agricultural production. The way you manage the soil, that's how your produce will be at the end of the day.
Participants at the Soil Science Awareness and Career Opportunities noted that the campaign is a good move to develop the country.
It's very good that at this younger age, catch them young to have the knowledge and even put up a career in the soil science.
It's supposed to be a course that will go for all the students in the schools, because it will enlighten them on even the course, as well as making them even to choose the course as a career.
Encouraged to take soil science as a profession and be encouraged in learning it.
The awareness campaign on career opportunities in soil science is targeted for students of selected secondary schools by Nigerian Institute of Soil Science on the need to ensure that the soil retains its nutrients to encourage good yields among agriculturalists. In Ibadan, Lukman Hassan, NTA News.
Meanwhile, ending trafficking in persons requires sustained commitment and collaboration by all to strengthen prevention efforts and hold traffickers accountable for their crimes. This was the fallout at the Maiden Stakeholders Conference Against Trafficking in Persons and Smuggling of Migrants by NACTAL, Oyo State Chapter. Grace Anyolike completes the reports.
Trafficking in persons is a serious global issue with significant human rights and public health implications. One of the biggest problems associated with human trafficking and smuggling of migrants is the exploitation and abuse of the victims, with trafficked individuals often forced into labor or prostitution and they may experience physical and psychological abuse. To get rid of the age-long criminal practice, law enforcement agencies, personnel of the justice system, media personnel and leaders who wield various levels of influence converge as cohorts to combat the inhumanity of man to man. Critical stakeholders call on government and well-meaning Nigerians to help in improving the livelihoods of the citizens.
Let us agree that every child is my child. That means my child should not be trafficked, it should not be a slave, it should not be a house help.
As an ordinary citizen or individual, you can be a whistleblower to forum that you know can give an effective response.
For every parent or every guardian, you know that we found culpable, then we are going to charge them to court.
With a theme, ending trafficking in persons and smuggling of migrants, strategizing for effective partnership and solution. Network Against Child Trafficking, Abuse and Labor, NACTAL, a non-governmental organization, chart a course for all to take decisive actions to curb the menace. In Ibadan, Grace Ayonleke, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from here. We will pause for another break, and when we return, we will join Ogochukwuka in our Abuja studio for more report on Nationwide.
Thank you for staying tuned. Effective application of sign language in promoting quality education through appropriate deaf teacher education curriculum has been emphasized. This can be promoted through analytical consideration of deaf culture, bilingualism or trilingualism, and visual language by hearing teachers of deaf students. This was at the second National Summit of the Deaf on Education in partnership with relevant stakeholders to further advocate the need for an all-inclusive quality education for the deaf community in the country.
It explains that if those who are ignorant, if they are educated, they will not be on the street if they are well educated. Deaf education, giving them deaf quality education will help so that they can have a better future. We are preparing them for national development.
Deaf education is one of the very, very essential aspects of education for the disability community in Nigeria. I am also deaf and a proud PhD holder as a deaf person.
The law guarantees free education for, well, I would say deaf people up to the secondary school level. It also guarantees subsidized education in tertiary education. It also guarantees subsidized education for the teachers of special ed, and that there should be provision of communication devices and sign language interpreters in schools.
Nigerian Sign Language Dictionary has been written but awaiting approval by the Federal Executive Council. This is aimed at furthering education to the deaf community. And similarly, since disability matters are hinged on humanitarian affairs, members of the disability community in Nigeria want the federal government to appoint a new minister to run the affairs of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. Elizabeth Omori reports that the senior special assistant to the president on special needs and equal opportunities, Abba Issa, says the vacuum left in the ministry is taking its toll on disability matters.
In line with the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure inclusion of every segment of the society in its Renew Hope agenda, the humanitarian ministry needs someone who understands the plight of persons with disability and vulnerable groups so that the vision of Mr. President can be realized.
Decision, Abba Issa, on behalf of the over 35,000 persons with disabilities in the country, says a selfless, dedicated and purpose-driven individual is needed to make positive impacts in the ministry to affect the disability groups. Now, Katsina State Government has rolled out a feeding program worth more than 10 billion naira, targeting about 2 million vulnerable residents of the state during the holy month of Ramadan. Governor Diko Umaru Rada tasked the committee saddled with the responsibility of overseeing the distribution of the grains and other consumables to ensure justice. Awal Haliru reports.
The initiative of the Katsina State Government is to ensure feeding of an estimated 72,200 people for each day of the Ramadan. Governor Radda says the move translates into providing food assistance to approximately 2.1 million residents throughout the month of Ramadan. This includes subsidizing the price of grains to 20,000 naira per bag, a significant reduction from current market rates.
We are not talking about those people who can afford. We want to sell these grains to people that need it the most. The grains include maize, millet, and unicorn.
In addition to subsidizing the prices of food items for about 400,000 households, Governor Radda says 33,000 elderly and vulnerable families selected from across the state will receive food items free of charge, along with some cash donations.
It's an enormous task, involving a lot of money, and we are grateful to you. And I am on behalf of the populace.
Other members of the committee include representatives from various councils and organizations tasked with the responsibility of ensuring effective coordination of the distribution exercise across the state. In Katsina, Awal Halaru, NTA News.
And similarly, the Muslim community in the headquarters of the Nigerian Television Authority has donated food items to some internally displaced persons taking shelter in Malaysian Garden, Apple Village, Abuja. Usman Zubairu reports that this gesture has become a yearly tradition.
Ramadan fast is not just about abstaining from food and drinks only, but also a time to show love and empathy to the less privileged. The annual humanitarian gesture by Muslim community of NTA headquarters in collaboration with the Board of Trustees under the leadership of the Director General Comrade Abdul Hamid Dembos.
So these are brothers and sisters here in the spirit of the Ramadan period that we are in, to cushion the effect of and then to alleviate their suffering in this place they found themselves.
Receiving the items, Chairman Malaysian Garden IDP camp, Chakule Lawal, thanked the Muslim community of NTA headquarters for the donations over the years and assured that it will be put to good use.
In the month of Ramadan, you are the first people who first donate relief materials or food items to the IDP of Malaysian Garden. We really appreciate your efforts. We really appreciate you. We thank you a lot.
We really appreciate your efforts. Every year, you remember us with this kind gesture.
This year's outreach is the fate of such. Smallsville, NTA News.
And on that note, we conclude the bulletin tonight, this afternoon. Many thanks for watching. Have a blessed evening.